Hello, Spartan fans, and welcome in to the Michigan State Spartans Insider Podcast. I'm your beat reporter from Michigan State Spartans on SI, Aidan Champion. For those of you NBA fans, it's an exciting time right now with the NBA Finals. That game one was a heck of a finish, was frankly a pretty boring game for most of it, and I was ready um, to move on from it, but was sure glad that I tuned in for the ending. Soon soon enough, you're going to have the NBA draft. And of course, Spartan fans have their eyes on this one because Jase Richardson, of course, is more than likely going to have his name called in the first round. The big question is it going to be in lottery territory or not? And for a while, it was going to be. It was assumed to be. All these mock drafts had mocked him in the lottery section. But now not so much. And of course, that was largely because of his combine measurements. But I want to pose the question today, um, and I know I'm asking you to set aside your bias for this one, which I know will be kind of hard. I'm wondering, should Jase Richardson have stayed another year at Michigan State? Like I said, put aside your bias because I know the initial thought is, heck yeah, he should have stayed. Should have stayed. We could have made a run at a natty next year and would have had a great squad around him with some other key returners. Cam Ward coming in. Of course, we could have ran this thing back. Well, I get it. I know what it would have done for Michigan State. It would have been huge. And fans would have loved it and they would have loved Jace even more. But I do wonder about Jace's situation. Okay. I don't know what went into it. I don't know why he ultimately decided to go early. Like I said early on, a lot of mock drafts had him going as a lottery pick. That could have been a rule, a factor, but I don't really, I don't necessarily understand why money, would have been not an issue, but um, a determiner because um, one, I mean, he was making pretty good money with NIL in his first year, and then um, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the Richardson's financial status, but I would assume Jason is pretty well off. Um, I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think there needed to be an urgency. Um, and yes, he was projected to be a lottery pick. It's tough to say now, when he made his decision, because obviously that was a while before the combine and when the measurements came out and whatnot. Questions rose about his size, but I do think he would have been in a solid position to return. You return one, you're glorified as a Michigan State hero, an icon. Um, you're gonna be the closest thing to Jesus Christ there is on campus, behind Tom Izzo probably. Um, but the other thing, I mean, you've got an opportunity, like I said, to run it back. You're, I think if you return Jase Richardson, you guys are a top 10 team. So, it's not like I'd be surprised if Jase was just viewing his stop at Michigan State as just merely a gateway, his into the NBA. I would think that there's more to it with the legacy, his father, his relationship with Tom Izzo, I feel like, and I'm not saying he didn't want to. I'm not saying it, and um, I'm not at all criticizing Jace's decision. It was his decision, and he did what he thought was best for him. But I just think that if anyone had a reason to want to come back to a school for the sake of, winning a national championship for that program, for the university, it would be Jace, considering um, the family investment into this program. But ultimately, not what he decided to do. And do I think he will still be just fine? Yeah. I don't think though he'll have an immediate impact in the NBA. I think it'll take a couple of years or so until he's really having a positive impact for a team. Whereas had he stayed, I think you've got an opportunity. You come in as one of the best players in the nation, building off of your second half of last year when you really came onto the scene. Come in as one of the best players in the nation. You get better, and then potentially next year, I don't know, maybe you're a top five pick. So you're in a better position then. Um, After just 1 year, you're um, you're probably gonna make a whole lot more NIL money in year two. I don't see why money would be a factor. Again, not knocking Jace, not criticizing his decision. I'm just saying I think it he would have been just fine. If not better off from a career standpoint had he stayed at Michigan State. And then, of course, like I said, for the Spartans would have been massive, absolutely massive, coming off an Elite Eight run. You got Jeremy Fierce coming back, Colin Carr coming back, Jackson Kohler, um, Carson Cooper, like I said, bringing in Cam Ward. Some things transfer portal wise might be different with Jay Stain. Um, but right there, you got a heck of a squad, and would have had a really great chance to get better than you were last year. But that's all right. Um, you know, they've learned how to adjust before. They did it last year, losing their top three scores. But ultimately, yeah, I think it would have been probably the better decision to stay just from a surface level standpoint, from um the from where I'm looking at it, could have been. I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of reasons that went into it that I wouldn't think of, that just made sense for Jace. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I don't know. Um, but I'm happy for Jace that he's pursuing his career at the next level, following in his dad's footsteps. And I am very interested to see if he does end up being a lottery pick. I think he should be. Unfortunately for him, I don't know. I'm wondering now with seeing more and more mock drafts and the the big question about his size, which I just don't think matters. I really don't. Great players of his size, or on just in general on the smaller side, have had great NBA careers. And Jace is a guy I think could do that despite his size. Um, he's a heck of a hard worker, and um, he talked about. I wrote a story about this. He Was just on Paul George's podcast with his dad. Talked about his versatility, that he can play the point, and that's a question that's surrounding him during this draft process. So versatility is there, his ability to run the floor. So there's things there that he didn't necessarily show in college. So I don't think the film tells you everything you need to know because obviously he didn't play point at Michigan State. They didn't need him to. Um, so so I don't know. I think, like I said, I do think he should be a lottery pick, but I've got doubts that he will be. So I'm interested to see that. The draft starts June 25th. Let me know what you all think. Should Jase have stayed one more year? And again, try to set aside your bias. Um, because obviously that would heavily impact your your answer. But yeah, let me know. Would it have been, do you think would it have been the better decision for him, not for the fan base or you or even Michigan State, but for Jase, would it have been the better option to stay at Michigan State? Thank you all for tuning in as always, and I hope you have a great, 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 great rest of your weekend. Thank you for tuning in.